Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to Feed the Beast Infinity. In fact, this is episode 50 of Feed the Beast Infinity. I honestly didn't think we'd necessarily get to 50 videos when I started this series, but here we are. Didn't think I was going to have time to make a video today either because I've got places to be, but I thought, well, I've got half an hour, so let us go and make something. I was doing some stuff this morning, a little bit yesterday evening as well, and I've made some changes and built some more stuff since we did the last video. So first of all, I've sorted the cables out. It was what I thought it was with connecting cables. If you have a Fluix cable, which is basically the standard cable that isn't coloured, then a Fluix cable will connect to another cable, even if that cable is coloured. So this is actually a purple cable. It's very, very difficult to tell because the colours are similar. But even here, the red cable was this was a Fluix cable and it was connecting to this cable and all sorts. So what I've done is I've recoloured the power cable to red. So now that's not connecting to this cable, which I've recoloured to blue. And in fact, I also coloured these cables to red as well, because you know the way it works with coloured cables, you have to surround a piece of dye with 8 cables. And this was only 3 cables, and this was 5 cables. So I thought, well, there's 8, perfect number. And these cables just carry power, not data. So maybe that is, I think is this rose red or pink? It's rose red. Even though it looks pink, it is rose red. So what I could do is continue that on for all power cables. So those are the power cables, and at least now none of the cables are connecting to each other when they're side by side. I've also rerouted this cable slightly. Instead of it running along the ceiling, it now runs across the ground and actually goes through the ground here. It looks a little bit messy, but that's something we're going to sort out very, very soon. And we've also got a few more drives. So I've built 2 more drives, and I built some more 1K storage drives. I only had enough materials for 8, so we are starting to run short of stuff. I'm going to have to go ahead and do some more mining. Problem is, of course, whenever we go mining, we come back with bags full of crap, which is the reason that we're doing this in the first place. You'll also notice that I've now put this cable in ready to accept all the rest of the drives. Remember, you can only have 8 things on one channel. Sorry, you can only have 8 channels on one cable, unless we use a dense cable. So, assuming this cable can only carry 8 channels, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there'll be 5 and 6 here, 7 and 8 there. And this is a good way of actually showing you how those smart cables work, because if you actually look on any side of the smart cable, you'll see that there's 3 lines. That means it's using 3 channels. And you can actually follow those 3 channels around the cable. Still using 3 channels, still using 3 channels. Now, when we get to this junction here, one of those channels actually breaks off and goes into the back of that drive, and you can follow the blue line. And now this cable only has 2 lines, because this cable's now only carrying 2 channels. Then when it gets to this drive, it splits off. 1 channel goes into the bottom drive, 1 channel goes into the top drive. So these smart cables are a brilliant way of tracing where all of the channels go and how much load is on a single cable. So we've also managed to put the rest of these terminals in throughout the rest of the facility, and it does look a little bit weird because you've got this gap around the outside and you can kind of see around the edge, but there is a way of getting rid of them and hiding a lot of cables as well. So what you need to do, if we just go down to this floor, I think I've done it, is we can build these things here. These are cable facades. Now, I thought that we'd have to build a fabrication table, but you can actually do it with applied energistics. What you need to do is, in fact, before we do that, I'm just going to grab this Ceratous quartz and make a quartz wrench, which people keep telling me to do, because the problem is every time you want to remove something, like this one here, for example, if I was to destroy this block now, it would destroy the terminal, the facade, and the cable, which is a real pain in the neck when sometimes you just want to remove one thing. So what you have to do is you have to build a nether quartz cutting knife. Now, I didn't actually do this one on screen, but it's really easy to make. It literally is just 2 sticks, an iron ingot, and 2 bits of nether quartz. In fact, there's the recipe there. So 2 sticks, an iron ingot, 2 bits of nether quartz gives you the nether quartz cutting knife. Put that in a crafting slot with a copper ingot next to it, and it will give you, I think you get 3 or 4 anchor cables for each copper ingot. Let's go ahead and just pop that in the tools box now, because I think we are done with it. So now we have these cable anchors. What do we do with them? Well, what you need to do is you need to get any block that you can make a facade out of. There's one there for cobblestone, because I did the cobblestone one earlier. We're going to need some stone blocks. And we are also going to need some of these pine wood blocks. Now, the reason I'm grabbing the pine wood blocks is because we have the stairs. So what we do, we go to a crafting table, you put these blocks in the middle, and you surround them on the compass points by a cable anchor. So we've got 8 of the wooden ones, which is probably a little bit overkill. And then we'll use the cobble, well, this is the cooked stone ones. Probably need a few more of these, but that's all we're going to do for now. In fact, we can make one more batch or one more lot, so let's go and do that. So we have 20 of the stone ones. That's fine. Gives us a spare cable anchor, which we may or may not use later on. So let's just nip upstairs and see what we can do. We'll start with this floor here. So what we want to do is take this cable facade here, and I'm just going to shift and click, although right-clicking might do it. Yeah, right-clicking did it anyway. Sometimes you have to be careful, because if you right-click, sometimes it clicks on the terminal. But what these facades do is they basically cover over the entrance to a block, but leave a connection for a cable to go through. So as you can see, this terminal now is very neatly hidden in the wall. We can even do it up here. In fact, I'm going to do it with the jetpack, because it'd be slightly easier. If we click on the right bit of cable, and as you can see, that was the wrong bit of cable, and it's now going to put it in the wrong place. Let's go ahead and just use the wrench, because that means we can take it down without destroying the entire cable. Have I got to sort of sneak click on it? Yeah, there we go. Got to do a sneak click. How are we going to get this to go in the right place? That's probably just going to end up on the ceiling. Nope, that's just ended up on the bottom. That's going to be difficult to sneak click on, isn't it, with the wrench? There we go, there was some skill involved there. Nope, that was still wrong. It's a little bit tricky. Got to try and get it in the right place, facing in the right direction. Let's try that again over here. Nope, let's try another one. Nope. Not having a lot of luck doing this. Maybe I'll come back to that one, because it's just an awkward place to get. Maybe I need to build a ladder up to it or something. We're just wasting jetpack. But we can go ahead and do the rest of them. But before we do, I'm not bothered about this cable along the ceiling anyway. It would be nice to hide the hole, but I'm not bothered about that. So let's just go down and do the ones on the other floors. That's a cobblestone one. I've already done the cobblestone ones, because they were the first ones that I made. So we can go ahead and do this one. There we go. Nice and easy when they're on that level. Let's just have a... Oh, I've broken the bed. Well, that wasn't ideal, was it? It wasn't supposed to break the bed. Okay, now I've got to go ahead and build a new bed. That's annoying. Alright, okay. I was actually just going to sleep. So, remember, don't click on the bed if you have the wrench in hand. So, let's remember how we build a carpenter's bed. Carpenter's bed is made from 3 wool and 3 carpenter's blocks. I think we've got 3 carpenter's blocks. At least once upon a time we had 3 carpenter's blocks. There we go, we do have 3 carpenter's blocks. That was very, very annoying. It's gone and broke my bed. 3 wool, doesn't matter what colour as long as they're all the same, I suppose. So we'll use the brown wool, because it's not like we're ever going to use the brown wool for anything else, because it's quite nasty, to be honest. So 3 blocks, 3 wool, that gives us a carpenter's bed. That was really annoying, but there we go, you learned something new. So let's go and put down the carpenter's bed, and it was this wood colour before, which is why we got the blocks back. So there we go. And oh yeah, we need to make it the right kind of colour now, don't we? So let's go ahead and grab the carpenter's hammer, and we'll give it a... There we go, back to where we were. So now we can go and sleep it off, and this time don't destroy the bed. Had to sleep there because obviously I need to make sure that I resave now that I've destroyed the bed. Thanks very much, game. Okay, get rid of that hammer now. And be very, very careful what we do with that wrench. So, we've done this one, that's cobblestone. Let's go back up to this floor. We've done that one. So down and down. This one is stone, so we can put one in there. And the bottom one is cobblestone. We've already done this one. So that's all the floors done. So what am I going to do with the rest of these? Well, what I'd like to do with the rest of these, if we can do it without making too much of a mess, is cover up all of these cables. If you put them on the top, as you can see, there's no hole. It covers the cable and doesn't leave a hole. If we put it over one that already has a cable, it goes in the wrong place because it's really, really hard to click in the right spot here. Let's just go ahead and break that one. So we want it to go There we go. So that actually leaves a hole for the cable to come through. So we can go ahead and repeat that theme all the way along. We can cover up the cables where it doesn't need to come through the floor, and we can have a hole where we do want the cable to come through the floor. And there we go. It's a little bit weird on some of these cables because these cables are slightly narrower because they are smart cables. So sometimes there is still a little bit of a hole, but that is a lot neater. You have to agree that looks a lot better. And what we can also do is put one on this side and hide that hole. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to grab the wooden ones and we're going to put these on around the steps. No, that wasn't where I wanted that one to go. A little bit tricky getting some of the angles right. So we want one on this side there. No. It's really weird because the cables are actually in pots. Maybe there's a way to move them around with the wrench actually. I should try that. But we want it on that bit. No. Come on, don't make my life difficult, game. Again, I'm not going to mess around too much with it. If I can't get it to go where I want soon, then we'll just do it at a later time. Really doesn't want to go where I want it. You're on the wrong bit of cable. Clicking doesn't move you around anywhere, though, does it? No. So what I could do, it's a little bit of a derpy way of doing it, but we could go ahead and just remove that section, that entire section of cable, put the facade on there, and then go and reattach the cable. Now that cable will connect through the hole. It'll take a few seconds and then the cable will catch up with itself. There we go. So that cable is connecting and it means we can just walk over the top of it quite nicely and quite neatly. We could also go ahead then and do the same thing over here actually. So let's just take out that section of cable there. We can go and get our stone facade, which we can just go and pop on there. And then we can go and grab our piece of cable and pop that back in. There we go. That'll wire everything up. Not too sure. Oh, we already had that extra cable anchor. So we can do away with all that stuff. So what are we going to do now? Next thing we are going to do is we are going to build a new piece of equipment, which we're going to connect to this cable here. What we want to make is the import bus, because what we are doing is we are importing stuff into the network. So it's the import bus that we want. In fact, let me just go and drop off some of these bits and pieces which I don't need to have in my inventory. So we want the import bus, okay. And that is this thing here. Now, the import bus is very, very easy to make. It's a sticky piston, an annihilation core, and 2 iron ingots. So I've already got most of those bits here. Sticky piston, annihilation core, and that's aluminium. 2 iron ingots, and I've gone and screwed that up already somehow, haven't I? Sticky piston, annihilation core, iron ingot, iron ingot. Wrong way around. There we go. So there is the import bus. So there's also an export bus. Export bus does the opposite thing. So an import bus will take items from storage and put them into the network. An export bus will take stuff from the network and put them into storage. Not to be confused with a storage bus. A storage bus allows you to connect to a piece of external storage, say for example a barrel, and treat it as if it's a network attached storage drive. And that's what I'm going to do, in fact, with the things like stone and marble and stuff like that. I'm actually going to keep them in barrels, but we are going to upgrade the barrels to make them a little bit bigger. Now, another thing that we're going to do here is we're actually going to make a fuzzy card, fuzzy logic card. And the reason for that is the import bus and export bus by default only move 1 block at a time, and we want them to be able to move a whole stack at a time, otherwise it's going to take forever. Now, these things are quite expensive to make. These are upgrade cards that basically work the same way as overclockers do in industrial craft. So we want to make the fuzzy card. Now, as you can see, it works on quite a few different things. It works on the formation plane, the import and export bus, level emitter, storage bus, storage cells, lots of things that it works on. And in order to make them, we need an advanced card. Now, advanced cards require 2 diamonds, which is a bit of a pain in the arse. In fact, they require 3 diamonds because you need a calculation processor as well. 1 redstone, 3 iron. Well, we're running short of diamonds. That's the big problem here. Redstone, there's probably a couple in the chest behind me, but we'll do it this way and make sure we've got them. Yeah, there was redstone in there. So you go there. The diamonds go in the corners, and I've gotten it already. We want this thing here. We want this thing here. There we go. You're in the wrong place. Iron goes there, there, and there. And the redstone goes there. So there we go. And you actually get 2 of these advanced cards, which is quite nice. Now, we're only going to need to use 1 of them. But it does require a piece of wool. Let's just go and use that random red piece that's in there for no apparent reason. So we're going to put 1 of these advanced cards in the crafting station and put the red wool next to it. And that gives us our fuzzy card. Fantastic. You can go in that chest for now. So we've got our fuzzy card. Now, I want this this thing out of the way here, this chest. This is the chest that's normally connected to our crafting table, and it's nice to have it nearby, but it's really going to be redundant quite soon. So let's go ahead and grab the dolly. And we don't really need the... well, we will need that soon, but let's go ahead and just move this chest. Now, remember how this dolly works. You can move chests around, but while you're actually carrying stuff with the dolly, you get slowness and mining fatigue. So you can't mine, you can't run, you can't really do anything. Oddly enough, the jetpack still works if you're using this, which is quite good, I suppose. But let's go ahead and drop that down. So we've moved our chest, and we now have a bit of space over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rest of these glass cables, and I'm just going to bring this out to sort of the middle of the floor. I'm going to bring it down one, actually, which is going to be a little bit tricky. In fact, it's not. I'll just do that. And we'll pop that there. Okay. Now, as you can remember, this cable here, it's very difficult to tell. There is a difference in colour between that cable and that cable. This is purple. This is fluic. So because this cable isn't coloured, it's connecting to the purple cable. This is fine because this thing here is only temporary. This thing isn't going to stay here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the import bus, and I'm going to put that import bus on the end of this thing here. So that import bus will now allow us to take anything from any attached storage and put it into the network. We're going to right click on it, and we're going to put in the fuzzy card. Now, as you can see, this has now given us a little button here on the left hand side. So we can tell it that we want it to split things off. So if you split damage, you can basically tell it, I think the way that works is anything that's already got any damage done to it. Because what you have to remember is that items can have a slightly different modifier if they've got any damage. What we just want this on is match any. So it'll take anything through. That's the intent here. So the first thing I think we're going to do is use this chest over here. This is the one that's got all of our ores in. So let's try and get those all in one place, because we do use those in a lot of places. So we're going to pick up one chest. Splitting the chest is fine, by the way, because if you actually look, all that does is now gives us 2 smaller chests, because a double chest holds exactly twice of what a single chest does. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to work. I might need to break the bus and put the bus back down, but put that chest down there. It does look like the bus has attached. Ah, and there we go. The gold door's actually going down. It's not going down a stack at a time. What if we actually put that up? Is that going to make any difference? No, maybe I'm slightly wrong with the way that works. But I thought that's the way it should have worked. Either way, it is working. It's taking the stuff out of this chest and moving it into our system. If we go over here now and actually look on the crafting terminal, we can see that this stuff is now starting to work its way into the system. And because of the way that it works, it's actually putting everything in one stack. So we don't have to worry about having 20 different stacks with the same item. It'll put it all into one stack. Makes it very, very easy for us to see how much we have got in there. So let's just have a quick look upstairs. We're going to go up to the AE floor up here. And we've still got this dumb terminal. We don't have a crafting terminal here. Now, if we go ahead and stop typing, I'm so used to hitting E to get back out the crafting menu. If we look at the drives up here, some of these drives will be starting to fill up. In fact, none of these drives are. I think it's going to prioritize this one. Yeah, so as you can see, this one is starting to fill up. It's using 64 out of its 1024 bytes. It's actually speeding up. And it's now got 4 out of 63 types in there. As you can see, putting in a different stack of an item uses more memory. So it doesn't really matter how much of a particular item is in. because you can have lots and lots of one item, uses very, very little memory, but having multiple different items uses up a lot more memory, and you can only have a maximum of 63 different items within the drives. So we should probably have plenty of storage for most of our stuff. So that is quite good. It is going to take a while to empty these out, though, which is problematic, but, you know, again, we've proved the concept works. Let's go and have a little bit of a look at the reactor, just to see how that's actually coping. Because I think we've got it running on about 20%, so it's actually using a fair bit of power. It's dropping down. Let's go ahead and put that up to 70%. And it's now gaining power. Only just, but it's gaining power. So that's good. I mean, obviously, we don't want the power to run out, because if the power runs out, we can't access any of our inventory. Like I said, it might still be a good idea to have some sort of chest or something around, and just keep some very basic tools in it, because you never know when you're going to need to grab a pick or, you know, a hammer or something, the shears, a sword, and you can't get access to this. So it's worth having a chest like that somewhere. Tin, silver, lead, tin. A little bit strange. Of course, there's two different types of tin here. This is the other issue. Because we've got several different mods, as you can see here, we've got tin ore, which is 166, because that's tin from Industrial Craft. We've also got tin, which is 835.1, because that's from Thermal Foundation. So that does take up 2 different slots, unfortunately. As you can see, there's a lot of redstone in here, and that redstone is all going into a single stack. Now, another way that these buses work, you can only connect them to one item at a time, because it's an interface block. It only has one side you can connect to. And that's just to stop you being able to, like, connect 5 chests to a single import bus or a single export bus. The same goes with the storage buses. So you can't just have one storage bus and connect it to 5 different barrels, because you could do that. You think about it. You could basically, say we made a hole in the ground here and put a barrel in the ground. You could put if an import bus or a storage bus worked from all sides, you could put the storage bus on top of the barrel so the cable came out the top, and then put 4 other barrels either side of it. So you'd have 5 barrels attached to one storage bus. I think they used to work like that in an older version of Applied Energistics, but they've changed it now, so you can only connect to one thing at once.